All right, welcome back everyone. We got another project going on here. From the last video, you remember we did these jugs. You can see how I'm having them sit up here. I'm not doing an episode on these jugs right now, but I will do another one on hooking up these lines. We constructed out an arm specifically to hold our syrups, and this is going to be the arm right here. I'll turn it over. You can see the little holes. That's where the spigots are going to be going. But what I am doing right now is I want to insulate the inside of this. Okay, now you can see we constructed this out of wood and some plastic board here. And the spigots are going to come through these holes. Hopefully you guys can see that with the camera. But this is not insulated. So meaning when the syrups are inside of my trailer, you know, my mini split's going to be on. And it's going to be nice and cool in here. Probably, 65, 70 degrees in here. It's going to be nice. And so these are all going to be good temperatures. And as the lines go out of the trailer and they're sitting inside here, it's going to be a lot hotter in here. Probably 80, 85, depending on the day. Could even reach 90 or 95. So I want to make sure that I have this insulated as best as I can. And then also have a method to cool it down. So I'm thinking I'm going to put some reusable block ice inside of here. And then also probably a fan. I'm probably going to have a fan right here blowing air into the arm as well. But I want to make sure that this is insulated. So in order to insulate it, I'm going to be using some insulation board, which I've already used for a different purpose, which I'll show you. It's actually for my flavor station. I insulated a certain area that I'll show you, but I'm going to cut this up and I am going to put it into this arm, and I'm going to put it up on the top, I'm going to put it on the bottom, and then I'm going to put it also in here on the sides as well, and I'm going to have to cut that so that I can get my spigots through. And I'm going to insulate as much of this as I possibly can to try to keep out as much hot air as possible. And in order to glue it in, I'm going to be just using some Gorilla Glue. This is heavy duty construction adhesive. This is safe to use for foam board. You got to be careful with some of this stuff because depending on the chemicals, it can melt foam board. Some construction adhesives will. You could just use, I think it's like the PL300 foam board if you want to glue. I'm also, if I run out of this, so the first thing I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to cut out a piece of foam board to go on the top and the bottom here. Now you see I've got some wood, giving this thing some strength all the way down. This is the back of the board. This part is open purposely so that I can go in here and fix anything if I need to. And also this enables me to clamp this tiki part. You see this tiki part where I have lights? This actually sits on the top here, and I can clamp it down through the openings that I have here. So this serves two purposes. This is the reason why I don't have it fully closed off. So let's go ahead. We're going to go ahead and put some insulation on the top, and we're going to put some on the bottom here. So we're going to measure out approximately what we're going to need here. Insulation wise, it's going to be about 63 inches on the top and on the bottom. And then we're looking at about 4 1/4. So 63 by 4 1/4. All right, got these both cut, 63 by about 4 1/4. And going to go ahead and put them in now. The easiest thing to do, of course, would be to just slide it right in. But unfortunately, at the end here, we have two pieces of wood. This is where we clamp our arm into our holder right here. So it gives it extra strength. And then you can see over here we have some more room. So unfortunately, I'm not able to just push this in here. So I am going to have to do this in sections. And the largest section I'm going to be able to do is right here. So I'm going to cut this and I'm going to put it down in sections. And then I have some tape, some insulation tape that I will just tape the seams up with just to make it the R value hold as best as I can. You can see I've got the bottom on there, and then wherever we're hitting these seams, I'm going to tape this. Now you can see right down here I have a little bit of an issue. Obviously this is where my spigot's going to come through, but because this is foam board, I can cut that out really easily and just put the room in that I need for my spigots. I can figure that out. But now we need to make sure we can get this top part in. Alright, we got the top and the bottom in there. I'm going to go ahead and put a piece here. It's in there nice. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put a piece like this across as well. I'm going to cover this front side. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in and re-cut out my holes, drill out my holes, and just try to have the hole drilled out exactly where I need it, only for my spigots, which are right here. So the spigot will come in here, and it needs enough space there for me to get my lines in there, but no problem to stick this foam stuff in there and then just drill out the minimal amount of space that I need to keep as much hot air out of this as possible. We're going to have to cut more of this. Okay, so it's looking pretty good here. I mean, there's some spots here, but again, we're going to tape that in. Some of this is going to get drilled out anyway, so it's not really that big of a deal. I do want to go ahead and cut out some pieces actually to stick over top of these holes here as well. And then I'm going to only cut out exactly where I'm going to need in order to do my clamping. Alright, I'm not going to push these in all the way because I actually want to take these out. But you can see this is insulated really nicely. If I can show you guys in here, you're not going to be able to see, but the whole inside is insulated. And I'm going to tape it off, tape all the seams, fill in gaps, and then ultimately I'm going to drill out the holes that I need for my spigots, and then back here I need to clamp this onto this here, and I'm going to just figure out the exact places where I want that so that as much of this is insulated as I possibly can do. This is reflective tape here. This is pretty common for using for something like this. So I'm just going to go ahead and start taping in all these seams here. Alright, I just about finished up here getting this aluminum tape in. If you've ever worked with aluminum tape, you know what it's like. You got to kind of peel it off and peel the backing off as you go. In these really small spaces, it even gets harder, but you could see I got a little bit of a spot there. For the most part, I was able to get this done pretty nicely. I got it all in there. I got all the seams taped up. And I'm going to tell you, you don't need any glue for this. I mean, usually you'd hold on some of this foam board with nails and stuff. I'm not getting any nails in here, but this is on pretty tight here. This is not going to go anywhere. And you could see, hopefully, on the camera how that looks in there. This is going to add a nice little R value. And when I do put ice in here, it's going to keep that ice cold. It's going to keep my lines cold. Now, even with this foam board and this tape, it's still only going to be like an R value of 2. And then when I open up the holes and I put the spigots in there and stuff, and some of this back is going to be open, that's going to be even less, obviously. But the key is to do the best that you can do to try to help the situation out the best that you can. Now, some of you may say, well, you'd be better doing this or doing that. You know, for the most part, because I'm going to have all of these jugs at a nice temperature because of my mini split being right there, and because I only have just this section of the arm going outside, and because I've now insulated it and I'm going to put ice in there and I'm going to be blowing a fan in there, I'm going to be about 1,000,000 times better than what most people are doing when they have self-serve Hawaiian ice or snow cone station, which they generally keep out there in the hot sun. So, you know, even though there may be ways to do this slightly better or to improve upon this, I do know what I am doing here is going to produce a 99% better situation than most people are dealing with. Now, I'm going to take this out of my trailer here because I can kind of show you guys what's going to happen. I have my port there that I had built into my trailer, and my arm is going to be coming off the side, and this is where my spigots are. I'll show you what this looks like when it's all done. It's amazing. We have a whole tiki hut look here. We have bamboo and the tiki thatch, and we have lights, and I have a number of other things that I've incorporated to make this look beautiful and special. But I of course need to make sure that I can get my spigots in here, which I cannot do right now because of my styrofoam. So I got to drill that out and try to get that in there, and so hopefully I can do that right now. So I'll show you what that looks like when it's done.